Welcome to the webinar, A Job Seeker's Guide to Managing a Career. The goal for today's webinar is to help you walk through the process to manage your career with recommendations for tools and resources. With building a foundation to manage your career, you want to know the job market. And looking at the job market now, it's not the same as it used to be. Today's economy is globally based, so there are many avenues for the types of careers and jobs you can have. This really impacts what employers are looking for in an employee. What can be helpful is having career goals, which can help you decide what to do when the economy changes, especially now with the unpredictability of the pandemic and decrease in the economy. For example, before you could earn a high school diploma and that was all that was required to get a job. But changes in the job market include the requirement of more schooling, job training, certifications, credentials, and vocational skills training. Also, there's a need to expand how you search for jobs, not only from job ads, but using search engines like Indeed and Glassdoor, using social media with LinkedIn, and using the connections you have like friends, family, and colleagues. And lastly, the competition for jobs is statewide, nationwide, and global, so the more you can showcase your skills and qualifications, the better. This is the career planning model that we'll be going through today throughout this webinar. At the center here, you see manage your career. The other steps in this model help you to know how to manage your career. When you think about taking control of your career, you learn to really know what your skills and interests are and how you can use them to your advantage in the jobs that you do. You become less rigid and flow with the changes that occur with your career, and you're open-minded to learning through education, whether that be pursuing a degree or getting skills training through certification, volunteering, internships, or vocational schooling. Step 1 is assess yourself. Step 2 is explore careers. Step 3 is create a plan and set goals. Step 4 is expand skills. And step 5 is find a job. Ultimately, the career development process, once you go through all the steps, should help you answer who am I, where am I going, and how do I get there. For each person on this webinar, you might be someplace different on this job seeker wheel. Some of you might be at step 1, some might be at step 4, so it all just depends on where you are in your career goals. Step 1 is assess yourself. Assessments can help you discover your strengths and talents. They allow you to spend some time thinking about yourself and to make more informed decisions, especially when looking for a job. This is really important because understanding yourself will help you find a more satisfying job or career. Assessments can help you make better educational and career decisions, so don't rush into putting money towards something that may not be useful or beneficial for you and your family. It helps you present yourself better to employers because you get a better idea of your sense of self and what you have to offer. Lastly, assessments can show employers how your interests, skills, and values fit the job and help you be better at doing your job. Here we have some free and paid assessments that you can try out. For each section, we'll highlight 2 that has been found to be most useful, but feel free to research all the options that you see on the screen. The first one is My Next Move Interest Profiler, which uses information from ONET Online, sponsored by the Labor Department. It has questions you'll answer about your likes and dislikes, and then it matches those answers and gives you a list of careers that might be a good fit for you. It's also a good tool to search careers with keywords and browse careers by industry. The second one is Career One Stop Skills Matcher, which identifies your skills and matches them to careers that use those skills. What you do is you rate your levels on 40 key workplace skills, and it shows you what careers match the ratings that you chose. For the paid ones, if it's within your budget, the Myers-Briggs is a famous one people like to do. The test is meant to identify basic preferences for each type of personality, like introvert and extrovert, and describes 16 distinctive personality traits. And you can use this to know more about your strengths and weaknesses. The second one is Career Scope, which measures your interest and skill levels as an aptitude test. It recommends careers you may enjoy and jobs in which you'll likely do well in, and courses and training programs that can help you go after those careers. If you're interested in any of these assessments, you can go online and Google or talk with a career counselor at school, community agency, or your nearest Virginia Career Work Center. You want to remember that you need to reassess yourself frequently. If you're thinking about finding a new job or going back to school, take another assessment. As time goes on, you're evolving, you're growing, we're all growing professionally and personally, so your interests and values may have changed. So if it's been a while and you want to make a change in career, take another assessment. If you can't access the assessments that were just mentioned at this time, you can always create your own assessment. In doing that, you want to think about the types of skills you have. The first type are knowledge based skills. These you learn through past experiences and education, like having math skills and how to do an IV if you're a nurse. Transferable or portable skills are things like management and being able to communicate with others. These are the skills you can bring to any job that you may have learned along your career path, and you can continue to develop and use those skills. Lastly, are personality traits, which are things that make you who you are, like having the natural ability to lead others or being observational. Everyone has different personalities, and they all come with positive qualities that you can apply to a job. When you're creating the assessment, it involves looking at the 3 P's of marketing: your previous experiences, your portable skills, and your personality. What you can do is get a piece of paper and fold it 3 times so you have 3 columns and label them with the 3 P's that were just mentioned. Start thinking about all your previous experiences and list out the skills that you gained. For example, if you worked in retail, you can write down customer service. If you worked in an office setting, you can write down computer skills. Or if you worked in sales at a car dealership, you can put down marketing knowledge. Then start thinking about how many of those jobs did you have that you gained portable skills that you can move into any type of career. The second column is where you'll start to see an overlap in the skills you write down. So here we have customer service as a portable skill. No matter what field you're in, whether healthcare, hospitality, or business, you'll need to exercise some knowledge of how to provide customer service. And then you're going to be thinking about the person that you are. Are you an independent? Are you self-starter? Are you a quick learner? Are you creative? Once you're finished, you can see all the strengths that you have that you bring as an employee and do research into jobs that will let you use those strengths that you have. For instance, from this chart, you can look for a job that really focuses on customer service but also allows you the ability to be independent and flexible. After you've done the process of assessing yourself, whether you took an assessment or you did it by hand, you have an idea of your skills, interests, work values, what you're good at, and what you like in terms of your work environment based on your personality. Now you're ready to explore different careers that help you find the right occupations. Step 2 is exploring careers. Why should you explore careers? Researching and finding accurate information about work options is important as you're looking for what are your realistic options based on your life situation. Secondly, it can help you understand what type of education or training is needed. This is important if you're financially planning to do other things in life, like buying a car, a house, or starting a family. You also get to learn how and where to apply for jobs. Exploring careers also makes it easier to network with contacts who can help you find a position that you may not know about. And lastly, you also discover trends in the job market that can affect your career planning. For example, you may have had plans to pursue graphic design, but with more work now emphasizing using computer skills to work from home, maybe you want to think about what working in the information technology and computer world would look like. Now, when you're doing your job research, you can use this chart here to help you keep track of the jobs you find and organize yourself to compare and contrast what job option is best for you. You can break down your search by jotting down the occupation title, a little description of the occupation, any education and training that's needed to work in the occupation, any pros and cons you might want to consider, and you can even rank them so you can narrow down your job options. When you have it all written in front of you, your thoughts and plans become more realistic. You're able to visualize what you can do with the skills, experience, and money you have, what you want to do in the near future, and what you need to do in order to be in the career that you want to be in. To get started, here are some online resources to begin your search. ONA Online is often the most recommended resource. This is an excellent website for looking up different industries, different jobs, and it gives you the outlook of that job and the credentials you need. Depending on the area that you live in, it gives you salary information as well. There's a search bar where you can put in the industry name and it will give you tons of job titles and give you all the skills employers are looking for with that job. It also has a nice feature where you can search for open positions based on your state and zip code for a particular job title. Using your local workforce centers can be helpful in working with a career coach one on one. At the Virginia Career Work Centers, you can work with a career service specialist to learn about job searching techniques and also training programs for youth, adults, those with disabilities, and veterans. Career One Stop is also sponsored by the Labor Department and gives you interactive tools for job seekers, students, and businesses. You get career and job information options, how to create a resume, locate training resources, information on financial aid, and assistance with education decisions. America's Career InfoNet gives you national, state, and local career information and job market data, career reports, and just a ton of interactive based tools. And lastly, there's the Economic Development Administration and the Small Business Administration, which work hand in hand to help communities start their own businesses by providing information and financial assistance. There are many more online places that you can look up to get information about the types of occupations that you can and should pursue, but this list here is a really good list to start navigating what is out there and if you don't know where to start. After you assess yourself and explore some careers, the important part of this whole process is having a plan and setting goals. The last thing you want to do is go into expanding your skills, getting education and training, without having a plan and setting goals on what you want to do immediately and in the near future. Step 3 is create a plan and set goals. Once you've looked at the assessments you've taken and looked at the potential career options you have, you want to start thinking about how are you going to actually get to the career that you picked for yourself. You can find that out by creating a career development plan, which allows you to review where you are in your career, think about where you want to be, and set the goals and tangible steps that you need to take to get to where you want to be in the short term and long term. Goals are things you want to accomplish or change in your life. These will be your guidelines that lead you to take action steps and helps you measure progress. They can be educational goals like wanting to pursue a 4 year degree to be in a certain field of work or career, and employment goals like working full time for an industry. Reaching your goal will definitely take effort and organization, which is why you need to take time to plan out the steps you need to take. Think about short term goals. What can you do in the next 6 months to a year? And long term goals. What can you do in the next 5 years? You might have heard of the acronym SMART when talking about goal setting. Your goal should be specific, meaning it states exactly what's expected of you, answers questions like what will be accomplished, why is it important, who is involved, where is it going to happen. The goal should be measurable, gives you evidence to prove you're making progress. It answers questions like how much, how many, how will I know when it's accomplished. It should also be attainable, so it's a goal that's within your own capacity to finish given your current knowledge, skills, abilities, and resources. It's results oriented, meaning you know the action steps will result in making progress toward your longer term career objective. And lastly, the goal is timely. It has a target date or time frame. Here are two examples of what a SMART goal might look like. The first one is obtain a job as a high school math teacher within 3 months after graduating with my Bachelor of Science in Education. So this one combines the short-term educational goal of getting the degree in education and the long-term employment goal of being a math teacher. The second example is get a full-time job with benefits as a sous chef in a local restaurant within the next 2 years so I can support myself and my kids. This one specifically is about the longer-term employment goal to pursue a career path as a chef in a restaurant. So you can see your SMART goal can be about educational goals that help you pursue your career or about specifically what you want to do to pursue your career and employment goals. So why are you creating a career plan? For different people, there will be different reasons. Maybe you're in a job right now and something doesn't feel right. Maybe you've been in the position for a long time and you're wondering, am I in the right role? Maybe you're in a job where you've outgrown the position based on the compensation and you can't see where you could be making more money. You have a desire to learn a new skill and you're asking yourself, am I ready for a new challenge? Or you're feeling stuck, you love what you do, but you can't see any more opportunities to grow. The good news is you can change your career and life anytime. Of course, you have to be mindful of you're financially able to and your life situation is able to support your career change. Changes like this can come with a lot of commitment, dedication, financial burden, and a need for outside support. But if you have all of that in place and you've planned for it, you can really do it all. And it all happens with planning and setting those goals and that you stick to those goals. So, what should be included in a resume? The list you see here are the basic sections you would have, like the contact information, summary of skills, employment history, professional development, and education. Regardless of what resume style you pick, these are the essential parts, they may just appear in a different order. You want your resume to illustrate to employers one message, which is, this is how I made things better for the companies I worked for. More employers and recruiters nowadays are saying that the objective is no longer needed because it's redundant and outdated. Even though it's meant to capture your career ambitions, objectives can become too broad, too short, and show nothing about what you can do for the employer. So, leaving it off will help employers focus on your skills and what accomplishments you can bring to the table for your next potential company. To start your plan, write down what you do. If you're not working right now, think about the last place you worked at. Start by thinking about what does your day-to-day task look like. Of course, our job title and resume only say so much about what we do. Many of us can relate that we do more than our actual job title, so spend some time thinking about what you actually do. Start with the core responsibilities of your position, the things you do every day. Then write down everything else you spend time doing at work, even if it diverges away from your actual job duties. You can do this by keeping a work diary of your successes, failures, and activities, or you can do a weekly review of what you've done and what you want to accomplish for the next week. When you're done making a list of your duties, sort the list into things you absolutely hate doing, things you don't mind doing, and things you love and wish you could do more often. And in thinking about what you love to do on the job, maybe out of that you can find a career that gives you a chance to do more of that and be paid for it. You want to think long term. The list here are some of the questions you can think about answering so you have a better idea of what to pick for your plan. Ask yourself, what am I best at doing, both personally and professionally? What am I terrible at? Do I want to stay in this job or this field? If I want to change jobs, do I want to be promoted into a similar job or more senior role or completely change jobs? And that's where the research part comes into play. Maybe you're just looking to grow within the company, not leave it altogether. If you want to change jobs, would you rather manage people or would you rather work on your own? And moving up within a company doesn't necessarily mean you have to manage people. It just all depends on the career path you want to take. If you want to change industries, which field are you interested in? What is it about that industry that excites you? Has it always really interested you? Maybe you're someone who's always wanted to work for yourself, to start a business, and start thinking about the pros and cons of what that might look like. Taking the next steps means starting with reviewing what you've written down and look to see if the goals you have are too big. Sometimes the process may feel overwhelming, like you're doing the research and you see you need to go back to school. You have to get this credential and it costs this amount of money, and you have to complete some courses beforehand as well. What you want to do is work on your small short term goals first. The goal could be in the next 6 months, you're working to provide for yourself, and on the side, you're enrolled in and studying to get those courses finished before you get the credential. And on top of that, you can maybe save $50 toward the amount to pay for it. So if you break it down into parts that you can do, it becomes less overwhelming than if you're looking at the bigger picture. If the goal is too big, break it down into smaller steps. When you're pursuing your goals, you also want to commit to a time frame. Think about what can you do to achieve within the next 6, 12, 18 months. How and when will I achieve my training and educational goals? How and when will I gain the additional skills and experience I need? How can I expand my network and by when? Success really does come from doing the right things consistently and doing them well. So do the SMART goal setting that we talked about earlier. And ultimately, you need to take that first step, which seems especially hard at times. But if you want your career plan to be more than a piece of paper, you really just got to give yourself that push to start. Finding a supporter can help keep you on track and accountable. Working with a mentor, career coach, or anyone to cheer you on and offer constructive opinions. One thing that can be helpful in overcoming your hesitation to start pursuing your careers and goals is to share your goals and all the things you're planning to do to change your career, not only with your loved ones, but friends and coworkers too. Putting it out there can give you that positive pressure and push you in the right direction to actually start. When you're looking at your support system, tap into all your resources. Talk with your human resource representative. Sometimes we think HR people are only there for us when there's issues with our paycheck or other work related issues. But they can be people you go to talk about options for growth within the company or moving to different departments before you move up within the company. Look on different job sites to expand your chances of finding opportunities. Some recommended job sites include Indeed, Glassdoor, Own It Online, LinkedIn, and America's Job Exchange. Talk to people about their career. You might be surprised at what your coworkers, friends, and family are doing, and it might give you insight into what's available internally within a company that isn't advertised on public job sites. And lastly, take a career assessment test and visit your local library or use virtual career center services to get information about job leads. Once you've done steps 1 through 3, you've assessed yourself, explored some careers, and created a plan with goals. Think about what kind of skills should you gain or expand. This would be step 4, expanding your skills. You can review your career plan to see if you need to expand on any skills you already have in order to enter your career field. Why should you expand your skills? Well, expanding your skills can be helpful because employers like to hire people with skills that match their job needs. Many employers do offer on the job training, but the more skills you bring to the table, the less time they'll have to take to train you, and you can spend more time working your actual role on the job. Employers also keep and promote people who are serious about expanding their skills. If you're currently employed, look into taking some trainings and courses that are offered for free as an employee. Not only will you gain new skills that you can take with you to another company if you want to leave, but if you want to get promoted or move into a different department, it will let your supervisors see that you are taking initiative to become better and you'll gain better support from your employer. Many competitive jobs require training such as a degree or certification. Now, although the degree is important, like checking a box off for the basic requirements, certifications have become more popular and desirable in an employee. Having that tangible certification and credential to show that you went above and beyond the job duties to build up your resume and you can do more than the average person with a degree. And lastly, if your job ends, you'll have a better chance of finding a new job if you have the additional certifications and credentials. Look into the future. Think about long term what type of field of work and skills are going to be demanded and do they align with your career plan. If you think about it, with the pandemic, all of the virtual technology is more important than ever. Information technology in all fields is moving faster now that many employers are working towards those work at home options. So maybe think about what is the virtual world looking like and what kind of credential and certifications are out there that you can get a head start on. The best way to do that is to browse the internet. Research the industry that you're interested in and see what certifications are required for that field of work. Look into specific industries. Research an industry or company that you've always wanted to work in. And if you see one that you like, think about what are the goals of that company. Look at the mission, vision, and goals of the company and see where they are going in the future. Where do you fit in that future and what will you need to get there? One of the best ways to expand your skills is through education and certifications. Make sure that your education connects to the occupations that actually fit your interests and skills. That's where the research part is really important. Here is a little table that can help you organize the information as you go along in your research process. You can list the occupation, the type of education and certification you'll need, time of training, cost and requirements to enroll so you can compare different skills training and see which one is best for you. The final step in the job seeker wheel is step 5, which is find a job. Currently, as you're watching this webinar, the job market is affected by the pandemic and tough to navigate due to the current situation. But it will go back to normal as more places are opening back up and as there's a larger need to jumpstart the economy again, there's going to be a higher demand for more workers. Until then, you can take some time now to understand the strategies you need to find the right job. Organize your job search so that you can be successful once the job market opens back up and more job opportunities are available for hiring. And apply what you learned in your assessments and career exploration to figure out what you want to do and how to get there. When you think about finding a job, you want to think about the job searching strategies. This includes researching employers to know more about the company and not only to know who you'll be working for, but in the case you're asked questions about the company in the interview. You want to think about networking, and LinkedIn can be a good tool to network with recruiters for organizations that you want to work for. Look into searching for resume and cover letter guidelines like how to format one and what to include. Think about what you might need for the job application. Some employers may require only the job application, some may need extra documents as attachments like education transcripts, letters of recommendations, work visa verifications. Know about the hiring process and what that may consist of. This includes how the hiring process will take place. Maybe you'll need to go through a phone interview, one on one interview, or a panel interview before being hired, or you might only need to go to one interview before hearing back with the hiring decision. And lastly, know the interviewing process and all the techniques. Effective job searching techniques can include a variety of things that you can do. You can attend events like in person job fairs, and now many employers are going for the virtual job fairs that might be through Zoom, so be prepared to research what that might look like and keep looking for those opportunities to help expand your job search. Stay current on what's offered in terms of available jobs. Following up with job developers, recruiters, job postings. Track what you're doing to keep yourself organized on job application deadlines and things you need to submit. Be persistent and don't just apply to one job and put all your eggs into one basket and think that's enough to get a job. Apply to many job positions and network with people you know. Access social media platforms like LinkedIn. Review local job boards, contacting job developers and recruiters. And lastly, visiting the employment centers. And that concludes the content for this presentation today. Thank you so much for joining our webinar.